And now to another mystery that's been plaguing Victorian state politics for weeks.
Vic Libs reeling over secret Baillieu tape.
In late June, a leaked recording of former Victorian Premier Ted Baillieu was sent anonymously to Liberal Party members from a fake email address. On the tape, Baillieu let fly at several Liberal MPs and their, quote, crazy mates. And not surprisingly, this shook Victoria's shaky Liberal government.
The Napthine government has been plunged back into damage control after the very public airing of a tape containing explosive material about the deep divisions in the Victorian Liberal Party.
Baillieu had thought he was having an off-the-record conversation with the state political editor of the Sunday Age, Farrah Tomazin. But without telling him, she had recorded it, and she then lost her dictaphone. Premier Denis Napthine promptly told 3AW it was vital the Age come clean about how that had happened.
There are rumours circulating around Parliament about where this dictaphone went missing. And I understand the rumours say that it went missing at a Labor Party state council.
Yes, hardly the best place to lose it, with a Fairfax sticker on the back and right in the enemy camp. And last week it turned out those rumours were true when the Labor Party finally fessed up to finding it.
Victorian Labor admits listening to damaging tape but denies leak to Liberals.
After turning up in lost property at the ALP conference, the dictaphone had been handed to the Labor Party's Assistant State Secretary, Cosmos Samaras. Even though it wasn't his dictaphone, he decided to listen to it, only to find, to his fury, that he and two other ALP figures had also been secretly recorded. Whereupon, instead of giving the dictaphone back to the Age, he decided to trash it. As party leader Daniel Andrews explained to the media last Monday,
every item off the recorder, that every copy, every recording from the tape recorder was destroyed. I cannot stress that. I can't be any clearer about that. They were all destroyed.
Mr Andrews was adamant that he had no idea how the Baillieu recording then found its way into an email to Liberal Party members. Not surprisingly, the Age found that suggestion, that it was nothing to do with the ALP, to be
manifestly implausible and patently disingenuous.
The Age then proceeded to call Labor's response fundamentally dishonest and to demand Cosmos Samaras be sacked. But what the Age did not do is shoulder much of the blame for itself. Farrah Tomazin, the journalist who got Baillieu into strife, told readers,
"This is a dirty mess that could have been completely avoided if Labor had just returned what was mine."
And in case anyone suggested she was in the wrong for taping the former Premier without telling him, she protested bluntly,
"It is not illegal or against our code of ethics to record private conversations for the accuracy of note-taking."
Well, perhaps it is not illegal in Victoria to record a conversation like this without consent, although it is illegal in New South Wales, South Australia, Tasmania and Western Australia. But ethical? We're not so sure, especially when your informant is off the record. But Age editor Andrew Holden has no qualms about it.
It is a question of intent, in this case to ensure accuracy, just as taking shorthand notes without informing the source that you are doing so is to achieve the same end. There is no intent to entrap anyone for later exposure.
But many experts disagree. Writing on the blog site No Fibs, journalism professor Mark Pearson reckons the Age's actions are a sad day for journalism, citing the Age's and the Media Alliance's Code of Ethics, which requires journalists to
use fair, responsible and honest means to obtain material.
Pearson concludes,
I find it hard to accept that secretly recording a conversation, whether over the phone or in person, represents fair and honest means for obtaining information.
The Australian's editor Clive Matheson agrees, telling MediaWatch it is only acceptable in exceptional circumstances.
As a general principle, our reporters are expected to always tell subjects and sources when they are being recorded.
And Melbourne University's Dennis Muller is even more definite, describing the practice as a serious breach of media ethics that could undermine new shield laws.
The law is prepared to defend, to protect or defend journalists from having to reveal their sources. If a journalist behaves in a way which undermines the trust on which that confidentiality rests, then why should the law protect journalists?
But whether it's ethical or not, there's one thing everyone agrees on. If journalists are going to record conversations with sources when they're off the record, they absolutely need to keep them safe. Because as journalism professor Matthew Ricketson told MediaWatch,
to think that this confidentiality wasn't being closely protected would send a shiver down the spine of anyone who's thinking about being a source to a journalist.
The Age assures MediaWatch it has now overhauled its guidelines for keeping covert recordings secure. Better late than never.